This is the first episode of League Investigations, a series where I will dive deeper into the mechanics of League of Legends, and in this episode, I will focus on Randuin's Omen. Now I hear you. Randuin's Omen is a relatively simple item. What could there possibly be that requires an investigation? But trust me, I think if you stick around, there will be at least one thing in this video that you did not know before giving it a listen. Let's start with the basics. Randuin's Omen is a tank item, offering only two stats, 350 HP and 75 armor, along with an active effect that slows enemy champions around the player. Now, neither the stats nor the active are what we'll be looking into today. Instead, the focus of this video will be on Randuin Omen's 30% crit damage reduction. This mechanic works exactly how you'd expect for standard auto attacks that crit, but damage in League of Legends comes in more forms than just standard auto attacks. Some abilities, such as Yasuo Q, Rengar Q, and Guarani, along with items such as Sundered Sky, can crit. But this is also not particularly exciting, as once again, Randuin's works exactly as expected, reducing the damage by a flat 30%. So, now that the item is confirmed to work as expected in these cases, what could I possibly show you that you did not already know about Randuin's Omen? To answer that, first, let's examine what Randuin's does not work on, and here's a quick list. Non-critting auto attacks, abilities without crit effects, cosmetic crits like a Nivea Q on repeat targets, on-hit damage from items, on-hit damage from supports, and on-hit magic damage added via abilities. But hold up, what was that last one? On-hit magic damage added via abilities. This was the most intriguing find from testing. While champions like Jax, who receive on-hit magic damage from their kits, experience no benefit from crits, nor saw any reduction in this damage from Randuin's Omen, it appears that added physical damage was not calculated the same. Looking at Caitlyn's abilities, enemies caught in her traps not only take the extra headshot damage, but also bonus physical damage, scaling with bonus attack damage and not crit. I will try to keep this short for the sake of the video, but here is the most unique interaction I found with Randuin Omen's passive. During my testing with Caitlyn, I found that a standard headshot without crit did 305 damage, and when at 100% crit, a headshot did 616 damage, an extra 311 damage, and an increase of 102%. When doing the same test with Caitlyn's traps, the damage without any crit was 448, and when at 100% crit, a trap headshot did 759 damage. Again, an increase of 311 damage, but this time only an increase in damage of 69%. What this means is that Riot correctly does not apply any critical hit bonuses to added trap damage, with the traps adding 143 damage regardless of crit chance. Now, knowing that Riot does not allow this bonus on hit damage to crit, we would expect the following. A standard headshot at 100% crit would do 431 damage when affected by Randuin's Omen, a flat 30% reduction, and the trap headshot would deal 574 damage, a reduction of 24% when hitting a target with Randuin's Omen, as the trap damage would not be impacted. The result of testing tells a different story. 531 damage, a flat 30% reduction. Despite the trap damage not benefiting from crit chance, it received the full 30% damage reduction, only adding 100 damage instead of 143 as it had prior. Thinking this may be a one-off case, I tested the same interaction with Volibear Q, and again, the bonus physical damage from his Q did not benefit from crit, but incorrectly experienced the 30% reduction. This is likely an unattended effect by Riot, caused by a mistake in their order of operations when calculating damage in the code, but nonetheless, it may impact the perceived value of Randuin's Omen by raising its value against select champions. Now, to wrap up the testing portion of the video, magic damage that crits is impacted by the reduction given by Randuin's Omen, although it can come in one of two ways. For champions like Yunara, whose passive does magic damage that crits, those crits experience the full 30% reduction. Another method for magic damage to crit is via the item Shadow Flame, which causes magic damage to enemies below 40% max health to crit for a bonus 20%. Due to the nature and complication of only doing a bonus 20% damage, Randuin's passive only applies to the bonus 20% damage, resulting in a roughly 6% decrease in damage taken. The complication really that you run into is that if you increase something by 20% and then reduce it by 30%, you end up below 100%. So you would technically be nerfing yourself into Randuins if you built Shadow Flame. Now that testing is over, let's contextualize what this means for your games. And to do that, let's start with this chart. This chart shows us the damage reduction granted to the player at intervals of 10. And doing the math, we can see that at 100 armor, it would require an extra 80 to 90 armor to get the same 30% reduction that Randuin's Omen grants the player. That's, for most armor items, roughly about 2 armor items, although with items like Frozen Heart, that could be just 1. This only widens, though, as we look at 200 and 300 armor, needing 130 and 170 armor respectively to get the same effect, which will come around 2 to 3 armor items, depending again on how much armor each one grants. And now, just for amusement, we can also use the same chart to speculate on Randuin's value against Shadow Flame users. And honestly, the results are quite pitiful. The total amount reduced from a Shadow Flame crit is only about 5 to 6%. But since Shadow Flame's passive only activates when below 40% HP, it will only feel like a reduction of damage by roughly about 2% in your average fight, since some magic damage will come before Shadow Flame will start proccing the crit, and that's not even the value of a null magic mantle until you have about 130 to 140 magic resist. So, excluding the magic damage, it's still awesome against attack damage champions, right? And the answer to that, like most things, is it really depends. We have to remember that the passive only impacts critical hits, a stat that most champions don't utilize. And another major factor is that crit is a late game stat, and until the enemies have 3 to 4 items, you will only be getting a fraction of the passive's effect. Combine this with enemy ADCs often only doing about 1/3 of the total damage a player receives in most fights, and we can begin to see how this item never really gives the user its full value, while also taking away an item slot that could be used for an item with a more consistent passive. While this video is not groundbreaking, I hope you at least found it interesting and that you can use some of this information, from the real value of its passive, to its unique interaction with select champions' abilities, to its slight value boost against Shadow Flame users when determining your itemization in future games. Feel free to leave a comment below if you have any other mechanics in League you think may be deserving of their own investigation, and if you enjoyed the video, please do leave a like and maybe even subscribe, as it'll help motivate me on this journey to improve my content in the future. Thank you.